fun conversation. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Martin, of course, on the MYBC Consulting live Facebook page, my business page. My company is all about connecting, collaborating, and building the community that I want to live in with these incredible people that are in my life. And this is the very first one of the MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series for 2022. Woo, woo, woo! And I'm so excited because this lovely lady, it says Pedro on her screen. She's using her hubby's laptop or our desktop today. Yeah. And but this is Linda, and I'm going to get her to introduce herself in just a moment. I just want to give a shout out to 2021. We interviewed, or I have had the pleasure of interviewing 40 authors. So there's 52 weeks in the year. So that was almost an author a week to share how they wrote their book, why they wrote their book, and just share about talking books. Because you know me, I love to honor books. So welcome, Linda.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me here today. I am so honored to be here with your people.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's tuning in live, but there's what I love about this platform is after we chat, it leaves the video on my website, or sorry, not on my website, on my my Facebook page, so someone can watch it afterwards. And then I take the video and I put it on my YouTube channel and put it over on IGTV, and then I tag you on LinkedIn and make sure everybody hears your story.
How scary.
No, it's not scary. It's wonderful. When somebody chooses to share their story, it's wonderful. So, Linda, fully introduce yourself. Tell everybody, where do you live, and we'll go from there.
Okay, my name is Linda Thompson. I'm also known as Linda Karimo because I write books for children as well. I am an author, a best-selling author. I'm also a vision educator, and I spent a lot of years studying all topics having to do with vision and eyesight awareness. I have had glaucoma myself for 35 years. Wow. I live in a suburb outside of New York City in the Hudson Valley, beautiful mountains, river, the whole bit. And I always I always wanted to be around mountains and water. So, and this book was I wrote I Know My Way Memoir. Always remember to color the sky blue. It is a book about my mother as a centerpiece, and also my father, because to know people who lived at 44 Wayne Street, to know my parents, people just gravitated there, whether they wanted a meal without hollering, yelling, what they used to at home. A child of 10 years old in the neighborhood lost her mother to cancer. She found my mother, and she was a surrogate mother for many, many decades. I had a friend of mine who had cerebral palsy, and her father was an alcoholic and decided that she was going to be beating up on this poor kid. I went to the house, rescued her, and believe it or not, her mother was even a nurse and did nothing. She stayed with us for many, many years, but people just gravitated there because there was something about my parents. I was very, very lucky to live and grow up in a household like that, and very honored to know them. Honest to goodness, it is, as I said, it's like a magnet. People came, and the funny part about my father is that he's Italian, so he had a friend of us who was Sicilian, and he would come over and he'd say, you're not Italian. I'm from Sicily. So my father says, may I remind you that where I come from is the toe of the boot. And who am I kicking off the coast? You, Sicily. This would go back and forth. But this poor man had no home life at all. So just coming over and we were lucky to have 2 or 3 people who got wed in my mother's living room.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, the same man I'm talking about became mayor, and he asked if we could use the living room because this is where he felt at home, and this is where people knew. I guess they first met in one of our parties at New Year's Eve. So it was.
Oh my goodness. There's so much there that I
Really
love to
is.
say that I want to unpack there. It sounded like your childhood and your early adulthood and even now was a place of compassion, kindness, love, and
Yes.
healing. Whether you didn't know how to heal somebody of their cancer, but you knew how to be compassionate to them.
And what's interesting is when you write a book, you think to yourself, what messages do you want to give? And one of the things
Mhm.
my mother wanted to have, always wanted people to understand is how visually impaired people live. Everybody understands what it means to be
Mm.
blind. Everybody understands what it means to have full vision. But how do you get from one to the other? You know, and basically it comes down to making sure that things in the house are where you know where they are,
Mm.
unless somebody else decides to get up and move it around. So it wasn't my mother's fault when she put cream of wheat in the dishwasher instead of dish detergent because my sister moved the box.
Oh my goodness.
So funny things like that will happen, but this is
Right.
part of life. And so I wanted people to understand that. But what I was shocked to see is the readers that reviewed this book. Well, we have about 60 full length reviews. It was everything from being inspired because they had trouble in their own lives. And
Mm.
yet they saw this couple dig through hard from left to right, up and down struggles, and they were always there for each other, doing what they could together. Oh, we'll get through this together. Until unfortunately, my father had cancer, only 3 months, and died when he was 62 years old.
Hmm.
And my mother was so devastated that she got out this stupid old rickety um, typewriter, a real typewriter. She had lost her vision. She had lost her battle of her vision back in the 70s. So she took this thing out and she just typed everything that she possibly could do to remember everything, everything, everything. And if we had speed dial, she had the repairman on speed dial because the ribbons would break and all kinds of stuff would happen. And we forgot about it after a while. My mother did remarry, but the man that she married was really for companionship. So my mother unfortunately met with a very, very tragic end. I really don't
Mm.
want to tell the part that happened, but the point is that when we went to clean out the house, we found the box of typewriter paper on the of the closet. And so by then I wasn't reading print. So I said to my sister, you go and type this out and I'm going to write the book.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 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 Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff there, Linda. So much good stuff. Um, so I'd like for you to share your story. So when you say it's 35 years that you've been do
With
I call it
glaucoma.
dealing with glaucoma
Yeah.
and your life with it. And I'm so honored because this month is Glaucoma National Glaucoma Awareness Month. So
Yes.
what an honor to have you
Thank
um,
you.
chatting with me today about this because it's a big education. It's also, I learned today, January 4th is National Braille Day.
Oh, is it
Um,
really?
yeah, so it's kind of like a triple header today, which is fantastic.
You know what? It's interesting too because my mother in the beginning, they wanted her to try to learn Braille, and she says because she had farmer's hands and those little things that you had to punch in. So she tried it, but the heck, she said, "Nope, goodbye, we don't need this." So she used like a heavy pencil because
Mm,
she had vision, but not as good vision as I had at the same age.
right.
But she used it and she used it very well, and she just was not about to, give up so easily. And
So
go ahead.
So explain to us your 35-year journey with your glaucoma story and your vision story.
Most people, well, I was born with cataracts and they screwed it up when I was a baby. So I landed up with one good eye out of two. And I saw very well. I only used glasses to read, etc. And I went through my life pretty much that way. I traveled. I couldn't drive a car. That was the only thing I couldn't do. And then one day in 1985, I went to go put a glass of iced tea down on the table and fell on the floor. I said, what in good God is that about? So I said, I picked it up. Then I went out to go to print something in a copier. I was pushing these things along, these black spots that really weren't there. So I said, uh-oh, time to go to the doctor and see what might be going on here. And they said, well, those are vitreal floaters, and that's normal when you grow older. The eye becomes smaller, and these little pieces kind of fleck around. So people who are older can identify with that one. Most of the people can just blink it away. But so after that, I just gotten these bad headaches, really bad headaches. And finally, when I went, they said that I had glaucoma. That's the problem. Glaucoma is a sneak thief of your precious vision because you don't know when you have it. It's like not knowing if you have high blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
You don't know you have high blood pressure until you have a stroke, you have a heart attack, whatever it be.
Right.
Yeah, and I have the worst kind. There's two kinds. I have the worst kind. And at that time, my father was dying. So I waited and I went up to Mass Eye and Ear in Massachusetts, that's where all the main work was being done on vision, because I needed to have the best. I only had one eye to live with here. And they did surgery on me, and I was fine for about 10 years until all of a sudden it started all over again. I ended up having two detached retinas. It's a real mess. And it's only been really in the last 10 years that it's gotten real tough. I can't read print anymore. And I use a text-to-speech software, that the best one out there, called JAWS.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's only because the company is in St. Petersburg, Florida, so they came up with the word JAWS. And that's what I do to work on the internet, work on Word, and that's how I wrote the book, because I just use Word documents, etc. So,
we got to pause there just for a second, because there is a big lesson you just shared with us right there.
I did.
Is you had this in you, and you didn't let anything stop you, and you found a piece of software and you wrote this book, speech to text. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yes, I do a lot of writing, because under my other name I write children's books as well. So
oh my gosh,
I'm very busy.
That's fantastic.
I am going to be pushing myself this year, because I want to do a lot of vision education. I want to do a lot of podcasts. I want people to understand how they can preserve their vision. I want people to understand about the major eye diseases, because you know what? Fear of going blind is within the top 3 fears that we have, behind fear of dying, fear of having cancer, and now we might have to add to it fear of COVID.
Right.
But it's true, and this is why every month of the year there is some type of vision a month happening, awareness. It could be cataracts, it could be vision at work, it could be any number of things. And I really want to capture this. I really want to get out there so that more and more people can become educated, so they know what to do. And I do a lot with sunglasses. That is a very important topic, extremely important topic, just for obvious reasons, but for not so obvious reasons. So I really enjoy doing this. And as I said, this is my first Facebook Live.
Oh my gosh!
Scary.
I'm like triple honored today. Oh no, quadruple
honored today. She said to me, Facebook Live, I'm like, oh God.
No, you're doing. You're amazing. You're a natural. You're not. You know, when we step into our passion, when we step into our passion or purpose, everything else just kind of falls away. It falls away, so we can step up. So anybody who's watching afterwards, I always because you sent me the link, and I'll post the link for you. And so if people want to get in touch with you about that education piece, because here you go, we've all heard of a conversation in passing where someone says, oh, I wish I knew somebody who was the expert on this or the expert on that. And here we have an expert on vision care. I
Yes.
love that word that you said about prevention
Yes.
and like the care of it. So you don't go from A to blind where you
Exactly.
didn't know what you could do in between. That's
Exactly.
brilliant.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And I teach it as a non-clinician because I want to teach. I teach with analogies that the average person will understand.
Yes.
That is pretty much the way I do it, and
I
it
love
works
when
out
you
well.
said about the cream of wheat in the dishwasher. I
Well,
gotta tell you, I can visualize that and I can see that happening 100%.
how about brushing your teeth with preparation H?
Okay, that's just giving a little crazy vision in my that just doesn't need to happen.
Yikes! Yikes!
Yeah, that'd be disgusting. And plus, I just have this vision of my mouth puckering up for the wrong reason, just because that's not where preparation belongs, is in your mouth.
Aww. But
Oh my gosh.
We had so much fun around. There was just so much fun. Everybody was always over to the house and by our pool. They'd bring a steak or whatever the story is, and it was just. And every year, New Year's Eve, everybody came, including the local police officers when they got off at midnight. It's just a house of just pure love. And I don't know how to put it any other way.
That's so beautiful. And just before you came on, off screen there is your husband. So how does your husband support you in this endeavor, in your education process?
My husband is a certified book copy editor, so of course he's done all my editing. He also helps with a lot of he uses Canva a lot. He's gotten to be really good about that, working with graphics and stuff like that. And anything else we need to work over or put together, or because he has to be the one to say, oh, how it looks. I can only go so far, and so we work as a team. As a team. If I need something translated, he's also a Spanish English translator. So,
you're the dynamic duo.
Something like that. Sometimes it feels like, oh my God, what am I doing at this age? Really?
No, you're never told to do anything. We've all got still a story in us.
Absolutely.
It needs to be told. It definitely needs to be told.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us now about the memoir. What's the let's say what's the theme's not the right word. How is it laid out? Like, how did you present this memoir?
There are 75 chapters because she was 75 years when she died.
Beautiful.
There are 18 sections because she originally was married to my father on April 18th. And every chapter title is either title of a musical piece or something from the Bible, all having something to do with that particular chapter. And at the end of every chapter are photos so that readers can identify with the picture now that they've read through the chapter. And many people have said that in reviews that really nailed it because, they felt part of it. And I have a very conversational style of writing, so I write with a lot of dialogue. Mm-hmm. So I want my people to feel like they're right there in the room with everything going on, not just looking through the window pane with the nose up against the window. And by golly, I think I did it. And I was just amazed at what the reviewers had to say. Reader reviews, like anybody else, inspiration. They were inspired with something that's going on in their own life, and they're thinking, well, if they could do it, I certainly got to try. Then there were people who said, wow, I only wish I grew up as a child in that type of household. Or they would say, gee, I wish my marriage was even half of what Jerry and Terry have. And you see that kind of thing happening, and then they would look at different stories in the book, and different ones resounded with different people. And there was one that, in fact, my friend is actually watching and listening to this now. She recalled one that when my mother went down to the city with both of us girls, we were very small. I was older than my sister. She had to go to get her eyes checked out because she knew something was wrong. When she came out, she couldn't see. She was all blurry. So she made up a story. She said, oh, guess what? Because it was this big area that she had to cross with 6 different things going this way and that way. So she used to say, who's going to be the one to tell me when all the traffic stops so we can go that way? So right away, my little sister goes, yeah, you can go, you can go, you can go. And my mother already knew she was wrong. So she was waiting for me to answer. But somehow she got us to help her without letting her know that she was in trouble. And this happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So this happened. We got on the subway, the same thing. My mother would say, well, tell me when you see the stop that says such and such on the board. Because she knew that, I would be the one that was the one saying it, because my sister was always, But that's how she got us home. And that resounded with my friend very much. She said, my God, she made it so that the children helped her go home, get home in one piece, without letting them know that she was in trouble.
Wow.
That's stories like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know what,
Yeah.
Linda, I could talk to you forever. Your story unfolds in my heart. Like I'm visualizing that, and it's almost feels like, I know it was still in color, like a black and white movie.
Yeah.
And this happening, and you and your sister being so excited to play the game that your mom was perceiving,
Exactly.
but you were helping, and you just being so excited that mom invented probably a new game that you played, and you were and that when she got home, and I can just feel your mom opening that door, sitting down, whether she had a cup of tea or not. In my brain, she had a cup of tea, going, wow, we're safe.
And the worst thing was telling my father that night that she would never see again. That, but my father, they always said together, we'll get through this together. We've been this far, and they really did. They went through all kinds of craziness, and they started a business in 1966 at our local train station, because we're also an Amtrak stop, and it lasted 51 years. After my mother died, my sister only took it on for another year or so, but yeah,
Beautiful.
It was. And
so I love.
the other one thing I want to tell you is that there was another couple of people that were loving the cover of the book. They said that they both suffered from depression, but when they saw the book cover, they would look at it every once in a while, and it gave them serenity.
That's a beautiful color, beautiful shades of blue.
Yeah. I had the idea, and I asked this person to get it done for me, and she did it.
Where's the most beauty when you go out for a walk? You look up in the sky. You look up in the sky. That's so beautiful.
And that, and what you call it, the angel up there has a significance. It's not just there for the heck of it. If there's a significance to that, it's the last chapter of the book.
Okay, we're not going to give that secret, because I'm going to wrap this up. I love to ask the question to my authors of, who do you feel needs to have this book in their hands and read it?
According to, again, the readers, what they have said, people who want to be inspired, people who want to step back from their own life and then just follow through this book, because it takes it from when my mother was a young kid all the way through to her death. Some say they read it within like a day and a half because they couldn't put it down. To people who had, didn't have this kind of growing up that I had, or didn't have this kind of marriage that my parents did. It was all like, it's almost like a magical Camelot in a sort of a way. Mm-hmm. So people, again, it came from different walks of life. I've seen it from some of these readers are from different places. In fact, Jeanette, I gave you the PDF of those reviews. That should go up online, because I want people to read the reviews. I put together a major PDF, and as well as we all know, people like to read reviews before they think about buying something. So there you have it. It was just put together recently, and it's up to date.
Beautiful. I will 100% with the link that you sent me. I believe in that link, there's a 40% off to buy your books, which is phenomenal. Thank you. What a great gift to start 2022 with.
Yeah.
And as well, you'll see that I haven't, it's always been about my questions to you, that if you have any questions for Linda,
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to put them into the comments on the Facebook post.
Absolutely.
I will screenshot and send them off to her in an email, and her hubby or somebody can read them out to her, and we'll get the answers for you. I think your book needs to be in the hands of the caregivers and the healthcare workers, such as like the Canadian Institute for the Blind or the Glaucoma Canada or the National Glaucoma Association or organization, that this book is kind of just sitting there. Your book is sitting there to kind of slide across and go, there can be life and there is life when you choose to embrace your life, whatever it comes at you.
And we also have a full audio. We have an unabridged audio.
Oh, beautiful.
We have the Kindle and the EPUB, and the paperback will be signed with a custom bookmark with it as well.
There's no reason not to get the book in whatever form you like to consume your books. So, Linda, thank you so much for your time tonight. One day, if you ever travel out this way, we've got some beautiful mountains and lakes out in the Vancouver, British Columbia area. And I need to come to where you are so I can see your mountains and your beautiful scenery as well.
I know your area very, very well. I've been out there several times. I've crossed the border there in Washington State. I've been out to Vancouver Island. I've just been through all that whole area. The western part of Canada is one of my favorite places to go.
You're always welcome at my home, Linda.
And you're at mine. Why not?
Thank you so much, everyone. Tune in again next Tuesday night, either at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, depending on where my author lives in this world. I try to make it easy for them to share their story. I always leave this by saying, grab a book, nonfiction, fiction, kids book, comic book, sit down, take your mind, take your body, take your spirit to someplace else, and you too are going to be changed by someone else's story. Good night, everybody.